on my mind tonight. And hopefully we won't be very long. But deliver what the Lord has laid on our heart. I feel like He laid it there. Amen. I'll be reading the book of Genesis chapter 26. And then I'm going to turn over to the book of Jeremiah chapter 2. Genesis chapter 26. We'll start reading verse 17. It says, And Isaac departed thence, and pitched his tent in the valley of Gar, and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father. For the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and he called their names after the name which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley, and found there a well of springing water. Over the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 13. He says, For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living water, and hewn out themselves broken cisterns, that can hold no water. Let's read that one more time. It says, For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living water, and hewn out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Thank you for standing for the reading. I want, as I begin to think about this service earlier in the week, and begin talking to the Lord about it, and the Lord laid this passage of Scripture on my heart. And I hope I can give you justice tonight for the thoughts that I've got. But I began to think about it, and I thought, many times we get caught up in our busy lives, and we forget the most important thing in our life, and that's God. Right. We get caught up in our everyday doing things, and the crises, if you would, that goes on in the world. And I thought, Brother Ronnie mentioned, he works at Walmart, and I've talked to him a little bit about some of the things going on, and it's just total chaos. I mean, it's just all you can say for it. Yesterday morning, I was at my father-in-law's, and my son David was called me, and he said, Dad, can you come down and help me get an order together for the store? They're out of everything. And I thought, he's exaggerating. And so I got down there, and he was in his van, and we loaded it up, and we ended up loading the back of my pickup up, and we took stuff up there, and by the time we got that stuff stocked, we was out of things again. And I said, we might as well go back again. And we went back down and got another van load. We came back, and I looked up at the clock, and it was 1:30. And I looked at him, and I said, well, they ain't got 4 more hours to be open. If they run out, they run out. I'm going home. So we went on. They didn't run out of food, I don't think, but they ran out of change. And I had to go on debit only because everybody bringing big bills in. And I thought, but it was all a catastrophe that the world was focusing on. Right. And I told someone the other day, I said, while the world's focusing on that, yes, what kind of tactics is the enemy slipping in under us? A lot of times we allow those things to happen. You say, well, where in the world are you going this morning? This afternoon? And I began to think about it, and it's important for us to keep a fresh mind. Yes. It's important for us to keep a fresh heart, yes, when it comes to serving God. Right. And I thought, you said, well, what's that got to do with digging wells and hewing out cisterns? And I thought the thought I've got on my mind tonight is, are you digging a well or are you hewing out a cistern? Come on. You see, there's a big difference. Yeah. I thought I've grown up and I've been familiar with both types of source of water. Right. And I thought, and a cistern is is something that if it's your source of water, it's important that you take care of it. I thought, there's certain times that you'll let that cistern run dry, and you'll get down in there and you'll clean it, and you'll wash the walls down, and do whatever's necessary to keep it fresh. Because the problem with a cistern is it can become stagnant. And I thought over in the book of Jeremiah, as we read, he said, for they have hewn out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. And I thought it would be a terrible thing to go through all the trouble trying to hold something to provide the sustenance that we need, and to realize that it's not working. And if we're not careful, there's a lot of times that we're working on things that we're spending all of our focus on things that's not really going to help us when it comes to the time that we're needing the help, Brother Tom. I thought everything that we're spending our whole lives on. I thought, I've not got a lot in retirement. The company I work for, we don't have no big retirement plans. We've got what they call a simple IRA. And the problem with a simple IRA is if you want to get into it, you can. You've got to pay a penalty for that. But when times get rough, Brother Bill, there have been times that I have gotten into that. And but I thought I've got at the age, and I told Sister Kathy a while back, I said, I'm not going to bother it no more. I'm just going to let it build. And I thought this crisis came on, and she called me the other day, and she got on there and seen how much money it had lost in just 2 or 3 days. And it's a little devastating. And I told someone at work, I said, well, it's like the grass. It'll come back. But will it or will it not? And I thought, I began to think about that, and I thought, those things are there. We look forward to those times. But I thought, we can't build our trust. We can't build our hope upon the assets of this world. What we've got to build our hope and trust on is God. When we build our hope and we put our trust in the things of this world, I thought we are hewing out for ourselves cisterns that can hold no water. That's right. And I thought, I don't know about you, but I want to build my trust in God. I want to trust that God that is good. That God, like I said, that I have proven. Some of us at work the other day was talking, and I thought, I don't make a whole lot of money, but I do these little surveys sometimes. Sister Kathy and she got me into them, and it's called YouGov, and you go on there and they send you a little survey online. You do the survey, and after you get so many points, then they give you gift cards. And I've got gift cards to Sears. I've got them to Lowe's, and I've got a couple for Amazon, and $50 to $100 worth of gift cards. And they're pretty nice. But I filled out one the other day, and it asked for my annual household income, and I punched that in, and it had changed a little bit this year, and I got to punch it in. And I told Sister Kathy, I said, I never dreamed that I would make that amount of money. And even though it's not a whole lot, it's still more than I ever thought I'd make. And she said, well, no, number one, I wasted my opportunity with school. Brother Ronnie, I hated school. And I had a great opportunity. Like I said, Brother Sparkson put us in a Christian school and gave us a great opportunity to get a good education. But I didn't take care of that. And my senior year, didn't have enough credits to graduate, and ended up not going back and get my diploma. 10 years later, went back, got a GED, and I was quite proud of myself for being able to do that. But all those things, and I look back and I see how that God has blessed me. Yeah. And we was talking at work the other day, some of us, and I told them, we when the kids was home, and we would pay all the bills and make sure everything was taken care of. And some weeks, on a real good week, after we paid all the bills, we had $50 left to put gas in the car and buy the groceries for the week. And all the things that was necessary to clean with. And I don't know about you, but there's not been very many weeks in the last several years, Brother Ronnie, that we ain't went to Walmart and left at least $100. That's in the first trip. And then we'll go back 1 or 2 more times throughout the week. And I thought, God has blessed us. Yeah. He has richly blessed us. And I look back and I can say, I have proven God. Yeah. I say, well, no, it's not by my ability. It's what God has done. Yeah. And I began to think the other day about some of the decisions that I've made in my life and how that I thought I would do this. And God has placed me where He placed me. And I understand the fact that God put me there. God put me where I'm at here. And I thought, so we look around and we get all of these ideas of things that we want to do. But are we digging a well or are we hewing out a cistern? Come on. And like I said, cisterns have to be well maintained, and you gotta work on them. You gotta keep them clean. And I looked that word cistern up, and in the Bible, that word that was used there, and it's what I figured it was. It's cisterns are frequently mentioned in the Scripture, and it said that the Palestinians made it necessary to collect water in a reservoir or a cistern, and it said that it's what we would expect it to be. It was a container or receptacle to hold water, that you could have it to preserve it. And a lot of times they collected the rainwater, but it went on to say that empty cisterns were sometimes used as prisons. And we know about that with Jeremiah, as they put him into the pit, and Joseph was put down into a pit. So as I began to think about that, I thought a lot of times we can dig out a cistern. And if we ain't careful, the thing that we are digging to preserve us will become a prison for us. It will become a place that will confine us. And I thought, if you read in the news, there's a lot of people right now that are being confounded. They're putting them into they're having to quarantine them. They're putting them into a confinement to hold them back. And I thought, if we're not careful, the enemy will bring things upon us, and he will confine us in the very thing that we thought we were going to be dependent upon. Come on. And I began to think about that, and I thought, there's a lot of people, Brother Ronnie, like I said, that have worked hard in their jobs to get to where they are in life. And because they're looking and they're hoping for that retirement. And whether they can someday quit and have everything taken care of. And then I look at them and I see how that they have allowed that cistern, the thing that they were building on, and they had prepared for themselves to preserve them. And how it has become a prison for them. And that's all they can think about is that job. They've dedicated, they had to put everything of their life into that thing. And you say, well, it's necessary that we've got to work. And I think if you're able, you ought to be working. I think that's the way God intended it to be. And He's got everything laid out. And I thought, I don't like lazy, but I thought God don't need it. But the main thing is we've got to make sure that we're putting forth an effort, that we're not taking away from God in order to obtain things for ourselves.
That's right.
And I thought, if we're not careful, we can dig these cisterns. And we'll find ourselves imprisoned by the things that we think we need to sustain us. And I thought, but then we read of Isaac. And it says that he digged again the wells of his father. And I began to think about that. And we could read where Isaac dug other wells. And he went, he began to dig and how he dug wells. And the enemy would come in and stop up his well. And then he'd dig up a well and the enemy would come in and stop up his well. And then he'd dig wells, if I'm not mistaken. And the enemies came in and took possession of his wells. They took them away from him. And he was working hard, but he did not give up. But the thing that got me, that I really took notice to, is when he went back and he redigged the wells of his father. Mm-hmm. See, the difference in a well and a cistern, like I said, is that well digs down into the bedrock. Uh-huh. Yeah. And it comes into a channel where there is water flowing. That's right. That we can't see.
That's right.
It's there. I mean, we look at the ground. I cannot see that water. But they begin to dig and they hit water. Yeah. And it's fresh water. Right. And that water is continually flowing. Right. And it never gets stale.
Come on.
Right. It never gets old.
Think about
it. And I thought, I remember being a kid, and it wasn't the freshest water, but it was always cold. And they lived on Regis Road and had sulfur water. And but that was our source of water.
That's it.
Right. And if we got caught with the top off that well, it was a drill well, about an 8-inch pipe, 6-inch pipe. And if we got caught with the top off that well to see what it sounded like when a rock hit the bottom, we were in trouble. Yeah. I mean, you didn't want to get caught doing that. I mean, we'd holler down in, and that's fine, listen to echo. But you don't want to hear a rock echo down that well and get caught with pawpaw. You were in trouble because that was his source of water. Right. And we drank it all the time. We didn't know no better. We thought all water smelled like rotten eggs. Yeah. But it's what we had. But I thought, but the thing was, it was a substance that we were dependent on. And it was always there. And I thought, I have found out that God is always there. Not one time has he ever failed me. But I thought, I don't think Isaac, when he dug those wells, I don't think he dug into sulfur water. He dug into fresh water. Right. I thought probably and people think you're crazy, but there is a difference in water. Yes. And I thought, if I'm going to drink water, I want good spring water. I don't go to the tap in my kitchen and drink the water that comes from the municipals. It's bitter. You can hold it up. You can see it's not worth drinking to me. And I thought, and when I drink spring water, I only want certain types of spring water. He said, water's water. No. Because there's a certain type of water that I like. You might not like it. I buy it at Walmart. And it's Deer Park Springs. And to me, that is so sweet. Whenever I turn that water up and I drink it. And then I can go somewhere and I buy another water and it says, spring water. And I drink it, Brother Jim, and it's got a bitter taste to it. You're right. It's not as fresh. And I feel like that whenever Isaac dug those wells that his father had dug, I believe he knew that there was some good, sweet water flowing in that. Yeah. Some good cold water. And he would get that, and he knew that there was going to be refreshing there. Yes. And I began to think on that, and I began to think about a well of everlasting water. Right. And I thought I could look back into my lineage, and I thought I could go back at least 5 generations in my lifetime that I know have drinking from this well. And I thought they have proven this well. And I can go back and I know that whenever I clean out that well, there's times in my life that I have allowed the enemy, Brother Tom, to come by and stop up my well. And I thought there's been times that I went back to a cistern somewhere and it was broken and it held no water, and I began to find stagnant substance for my life. But I thought whenever I really needed to get a hold of God, I went back to that fresh well that I knew that had been proven. And I began to clean out that well in my life. And I thought once again I found that refreshing water. And I thought until we get a hold of God, and I thought until we get a hold of that fresh water, we'll not be satisfied. That's right. We will not be sustained in this world that we're living in. I thought we've got people offering all kinds of things. But I thought there's only one true source. And that is this living water. I thought we was up my wife's uncle's the other day and going through one of those little houses, and I ran to the corner of one of the rooms, and there sat a Kirby vacuum cleaner. And I looked at my father-in-law and I said, "You want a vacuum cleaner? It's probably still yet good." Because they told us, I remember when I was just a kid, and they came to the house and they sold Mom a Kirby vacuum cleaner. First he offered us a pop, and then he took off to the car and brought in a Kirby vacuum cleaner. And he told her, "This is a vacuum cleaner. This is the last vacuum cleaner that you will ever have to buy." That's what he told her. And that's been probably, I'm 48, and I'm probably about 12 or 13 then, so that's been a long time ago. I'm here to tell you she's had a whole bunch of vacuum cleaners since then, Brother Daniel. Because it was not the last vacuum cleaner she ever had to have. And then they came by and she got rid of that Kirby, just heavy. She didn't like it. And I remember her buying an Electrolux. Electrolux they was good vacuum cleaners. But I seen her go through a whole bunch of them. And then the rainbow salesman came by. This is the last vacuum cleaner you ever have. She might still have that thing there somewhere, I don't know, but she don't use it no more. No. And I thought she's had several since then, because everything this world has to offer, they say, will be the last you ever have to have. Something happened to her. Come on now. I thought, but whenever I see, I found life that will sustain me. It's in the words of this book. Yeah. And I thought, when I go back to the well that I know has been proven, that it's the last that I'll ever have to dig. I thought I might have to occasionally, the enemy come by, just like he did Isaac, start trying to stop him up again. But I thought, I know where that well is. I know where that refreshing is. Well, when we were kids, talking about that, we up on them little on Regis Road, had sulfur water. Down on Tom Plowman's place, there was a spring that came outside of that hill. And he had a big culvert turned up, had that water running in that. And us boys would get down there in this hot summer. We'd walk down those woods. It wasn't that far down there, maybe eighth mile, quarter mile, something like that. We'd go to the side of that bank. We'd get some of that cold, fresh water. And not one time did I go down there, Brother Jim, that water was hot. I don't care if it was 100 degrees outside. That water was cold and refreshing. Because it was a fresh spring running out of the side of that hill that was always refreshing. I'd say, especially right now, if you could go back there, I'd say that water's still running because it was into a vein that never went dry. Not one time. I don't care how big of a drought we had, we could always go back there and we knew that water was going to be coming out of that pipe. I'd say Brother Sparks, when he was a kid, probably drunk out of the same spigot of water. And whenever they go back there, I told him one day I'd been back there drinking that water, and he said, "You ain't been in that old railroad tunnel, have you?" I didn't even know there was a railroad tunnel back there. He shouldn't have ever said that. And I got back there. I didn't go through it, but I looked, and by then it was getting in bad shape. And but I said all that to say, there is a water that is refreshing. Yeah. And I thought, I'm glad tonight to know that I found that refreshing water. I thought tonight, if you're struggling, and as the Lord began to deal with me on this, that's what I felt. I felt like somebody's struggling. Yes, sir. And they need to get a hold of that refreshing that they know that can sustain them. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, there's still going to be problems. Right. I mean, I still face problems. I mean, and there's still going to be unexpected things that come up in our life that we wish didn't happen. But I thought I still got the source of fresh water. Now, give us a song tonight. I hope we've helped you. But I thought there is a fountain that's flowing tonight. That we know that we can go to. And that it will sustain us. Yeah. It will keep us. I mean, throughout the Bible we could read instance after instance after instance where the Lord has sustained His people through His refreshing. Yeah. No, it might not have been what they thought, but yet He sustained them. And I thought we've got a hold of the source tonight that will sustain us. As they come against the song, let's come to this altar.